when one of my YouTube subscribers asked me, hey, Davinci, what do you think about Bitcoin? I immediately said, scam. I know that's not possible. I'm going to show you how it's going to be a fraud.
So when I moved from being a banker to an artist, I first started off as a traditional artist. And when I mean traditional artist is I actually was creating my voice note art in a digital way.
This is Tech Waves, I'm Lorline.
And I'm Steve.
From Dubai World Trade Center, bringing you your ultimate tech playlist powered by GITEX from our WeWork studio.
So let's hit the deck.
Today, we are in the studio to talk about a revolution. We all remember the key technologies that have revolutionized our world.
Like electricity, the internet, and smartphones. But today we'll be talking about another revolution, a financial innovation, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and of course, blockchain.
This technology is not new, but we are still yet to realize its full potential. I think we are still just seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. Now, whether we climb to the top of the iceberg or crash into it, it's a very polarizing topic. For sure, one thing is certain, this new innovation has opened a Pandora's box to endless financial possibilities.
It will really shake up some fundamentals in our financial system or regulation or economies, everything around us as we know it.
Even though private banks manage our money, the monetary system is very much still a government jurisdiction. How will cryptocurrency work around government control?
And then there is the myth, the unseen creator Satoshi Nakamoto.
Do we need to be afraid of cryptocurrencies? Does it still seem to be a very cryptic topic?
Let's find out from a leading voice on these subjects. Davinci is with us today. We welcome Davinci.
He started off as a reluctant YouTuber and now runs a popular channel for a niche blockchain community. Davinci J15 with over 200,000 subscribers.
His company, Davinci Codes, develop revolutionary financial products. And of course, who else but a developer could find success in Bitcoin?
Let's pick his brains today.
Davinci, welcome to Tech Waves. So, hi Davinci.
Hi there, how you doing?
Good, thank you, and you?
I'm glad to be here, man.
First question, okay. I really would like to understand why one day you decided that it was the time to jump into the cryptocurrency.
Well, it's started back in 2011 when one of my YouTube subscribers asked me, hey, Davinci, what do you think about Bitcoin? And I immediately said, scam. No one can solve the double spend problem where we have a digital asset that cannot be copied. And I said that I researched this. I know that's not possible. I'm going to show you how it's going to be a fraud. And so I said, I'm going to read the white paper, read the source code. I'm going to show you that this is a complete scam. And when I did, I realized, no, this is not a scam. This is real. And then I did a video shortly afterwards saying, every once in a while, something comes along that makes poor people rich because they bought it really, really cheap. And this is one of them. And you'd think that everybody would go, yeah, thanks, man, you're great. Oh my God, you know what? You're a software developer, you'd know the truth. Thanks for giving me this information. No, that did not happen. Actually, my video got thumbed down, like 750 dislikes. And yeah, I actually ended up removing that video way back in 2011. Yeah, I was severely hated in the community because I was in the gold and silver community back then. And so they just did not like a digital asset.
So much has changed since the early days of Bitcoin. Do you think we'll ever see Bitcoin reach the same parity as fiat currency?
Yes, I believe so, because it's like, what, 1,000x better than fiat currencies? Because right now what you have is a currency that robs you without you knowing. And it also is designed to transfer wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich. And also, it's a very insidious system that it has to be replaced, right? And when we do replace it, we're going to see a huge renaissance in humanity. Because every time we went from bad money to good money, humanity increased by tenfold. whenever we switch to good money. And so I'm looking forward to that. It's an exciting time.
So we all imagine, a world where we can use Bitcoin on our day-to-day lives. So do you think something like that will happen, and when?
Yes, it will happen. Of course, it might seem for the most people saying, well, wait a second, you know what? Bitcoin's slow, right? It doesn't have enough transactions and all of these kind of barriers, right? But Pandora's box has been open here when it comes to cryptocurrencies or currencies in general. Basically, we created a new currency type that has never thought to be that could be possible ever. And yes, it's going to take some time, right? Because when we invented electricity, a lot of people didn't understand its consequences to humanity. And here we are. You can't imagine living without electricity. So there will be a time when that happens to Bitcoins. Of course, it's going to take some time because there's a lot of software layers that has to be built on top before we get to the point where, just like, grandma couldn't do email back in the 90s. Now, it's just swish on her phone, right? So now she can do it. But we're not at that point yet with Bitcoins, but eventually that will happen.
How far off do you think we are scaling the Bitcoin network to something that looks like the Visa transaction network? Is it soon?
Well, I think we can do so right now with Lightning Network, of course. However, it just needs to be adopted. The adoption will take some time because of the way the Lightning Network was designed. I feel that the adoption for that will require a central entity to start pushing it, and then all of a sudden it will gain adoption. That's my opinion. It might not be correct. It's just my opinion. So yeah, that's how I feel about that because of the way it was designed in the Lightning Network.
For people who might not understand what the Lightning Network is, how would you explain that quite quickly?
Yeah, exactly. Lightning Network is like a layer on top of Bitcoin. It's not like exactly a new type of Bitcoin. Some people might consider it a new type of Bitcoin. It's not. Really, effectively, right? For example, like the internet, right, has multiple layers. One key layer is the TCP/IP, the one that actually sends packets of information, which is a very complex layer that nobody uses, but everybody builds on top of the layer. But a lot of developers hated the TCP/IP. Did you know that back in the days, they wanted to replace TCP/IP because it was too slow, couldn't do video, couldn't do audio, right? And it only had like a certain small number of addresses that, oh my God, we're going to run out of addresses for people to use, right? And yet we're still using it today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah. And so that's one layer, right? And then what we did is build another layer on top of it. And an example of one layer that everybody knows about is HTTP, which is a layer that runs on top, which is just basic text, which everybody can understand. And then the text is formatted in a specific way for your web browser to understand, basically.
Today, can we consider that you are living thanks to the Bitcoin? It is your livelihood?
Yeah, I would say it's one of my livelihoods. I mean, I'm still a software developer by nature, and I love programming. And so I have a software company. It's called Davinci Codes, and appropriate name since my name is Davinci.
At least it's very clear, so it makes sense.
Exactly. And I make a software there for help me with the little lady strategy, which is basically a strategy that I use to increase my Bitcoin holdings through the other altcoins.
Do you think that Bitcoin's wallets it's safe or?
Yes, I do think Bitcoin wallets are safe, depending, there's like levels of safety, of course, right? Mm-hmm. With each layer of Bitcoin wallets that you have, right? And depending on where it is on, right? So for example, the least safe wallet is obviously the wallet that's on your computer. And the reason why it's the least safe wallet is because most people's computers are easily hacked. Mm-hmm. And if they have access to, if let's just say you put it on a laptop, it's probably would be the least safe place for your wallet.
Yeah.
And you travel with that. If you connect it to a network where, it could get compromised. For example, there's a lot of... Exactly.
Network.
There's a lot of, like, if you're using Windows, there's a lot of zero-day hacks that allow somebody to remotely hack your computer. So that is the least safe device to use, right? But if you have a dedicated computer that you stay at home with and you don't move it, and it stays on one network, that increases the safety. Then, of course, the next safe one is the next least safe one is Android phones. Now, the reason why the Android phones are the least safe because they have also a lot of hacks because it's more of an open operating system than the iPhone is, and the iPhone is the next one. Okay. However, Samsung, right? They've created a new. Basically, a core in part of the chips, a core area for your wallet, so that no other application can enter to grab your private key. So they're increasing the safety by doing so. So yeah, Samsung, the latest Galaxy phones are probably the safest ones that you can use for your wallets.
I thought it was iPhone. Yeah.
Right, and then of course now iPhones as well. So because they're on the same par basically. So both your iPhone and the Samsung Galaxies are basically on the same par with the safety. Now, the most safe wallet that you could obviously use is a hardware wallet. That will take a little bit more, learning curve for most people, of course, because it requires you to understand the hardware side of it, and then the software is a little bit complicated and cumbersome. But you can if you push at it, you can learn how to use the hardware wallet.
Bitcoin at the moment this year has pumped to all-time highs, and in the last few days it's had a big retrace. Is it a safe time for people to enter the market? If they do enter the market, should they look to just quickly trade or hold on for a long time?
Everyone wants to know what they could best do, and every single option I can give you is very, very difficult. Even though the most simplest option might seem like obvious and simple, but it's not. The most simplest option is to just buy and hold. Mm-hmm. And you might say, well, that's easy, right? But
it's not.
The temptation
because you're tempted to do,
You're tempted to do something, right? As price fluctuates back and forth. But that's the easiest and the most hardest at the same time, because you will be watching the price go up, go down, and you're freaking out as you lose. Oh my God, I've lost 50% of my net worth.
I've been there over the last few weeks.
So, right, if my ex-girlfriend, right, when I bought her Bitcoins, like back in 2016, right, she forgot about the password, forgot everything. And now today, if she calls me up, I'm like, you're a millionaire, right?
Do you realize?
Do you realize that?
I'm telling you.
So yeah, she was only a millionaire because I remember she told me that hey, Peter, one of our friends, called her up and said, "You got to sell it in 2017. Everything you got, sell." And if she had done that, there's no way she'd be a millionaire today, right?
Of course.
Yeah, she probably would have sold the top, but she wouldn't have bought back in at the bottom, right? So the best thing is to buy and hold. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So that's what I recommend for most people. Of no financial advice. I'm not providing any financial advice.
But a little one. A little one. Do you think the Bitcoin could be used as a hedge against inflation?
Yeah, definitely. It's clear, right? When I sit down with major CEOs and people who want to know, okay, so why am I buying this? And I explain, well, let's take a look at what the situation is right now. Mm-hmm. Central banks are committed to printing 25% of the currency supply every year for the foreseeable future. So what does that mean to you? Well, that means you have to grow at 25% per year at minimum just to stay even. And obviously you're going to want to have more than just to stay at even, so you're going to want to have more growth. So you're going to have to grow at 30%. Now, can your business do that? And obviously you can't. Exactly. So obviously you can't. So now what do you have to do? Well, the same thing that anybody had to do back in Zimbabwe, Venezuela, or Argentina, right? They had to buy hard assets. And what's the hardest asset out there? Well, it's Bitcoin. So clearly that's your only option. And so you can try real estate, but unfortunately what happens is, because I explain that to people that, listen, real estate's purchased with our current financial system, fiat money system, where when you go to the bank and borrow, the money is not actually there. It just gets printed when you sign on the dotted line. So as long as people could sign on the dotted line to buy it, that inflates the price over and over again. But that's not the true price. The true price is what somebody could save up and buy it for. And usually it is the deposit.
Yeah, true.
So
Yeah.
real estate's not an option. And same with stocks. Stocks, because the reason why stocks are not going to do well in the coming future is think about what Michael Saylor said when he was like getting into 100% into Bitcoin. He was trying to find out why everybody was selling his stock, and they were saying that his company was garbage when it earned $75 million a year. It had $500 million in cash, and yeah, they couldn't grow the company anymore by spending their cash, but they had that for the foreseeable future, right? They'd grow like 3 or 4% per year, but that was garbage. And he decided, well, why is this? Why are the market marking my company like that? Well, they said that, hey, you know what? Your company, your cash is going to lose 50% of its value in 3 years because of the printing of the money supply. If you at 25%, if you're losing 25% a year, you're going to lose 50% of your cash in 3 years, and that means 50% of his income will be cut in half. The value of that income will be cut in half. Since that's the case, the company is absolutely useless. Now, it's useless as a stock holding asset, right? So to increase your wealth. So this is why his company was not useful as a stock option. And this is why people have to get out of the dollar, out of currencies, local currencies, and into Bitcoin or even gold. But of course, gold is
Gold is very famous. This last year, we start to hear a lot about, the power of gold. I remember this last 20 years, it was absolutely nonsense, and we didn't even remember that you could save your money by buying gold. But this last 2-3 years, I think it's back to the topic. It's very safe, and still it's increased every year, so you can still get some benefit of it.
That's true, but gold has problems, right? If you do the research, right, you'll realize that most corporations, if they wanted to get into gold, right, they couldn't custody it, meaning they couldn't hold it themselves, right? So they need to get a third-party custody.
True.
Custodials. Well, if they did research on those custodials out there, most of them are like frauds. Basically, they have they hypothecate the gold like 100 to 1. So you don't own that alone. You and 100 people own the same bar of gold. So that's a big problem if you do any kind of research on gold custodials. And yeah, it's a mess out there. Whilst Bitcoin's new, and so you can actually eventually they can't. Of course, corporations can't do the custodials for Bitcoins just yet. Because in order to do so, they have to go through a lot of compliance and so forth. And so if they want to get into Bitcoins, it'll take even longer to hold it themselves. So their first step is to find the custodials. And since it's new and it hasn't had the same kind of level of fraud that gold has been going on for many, many years, they could do that. And then, of course, in the future, they can add the custodialship themselves because they can actually take possession of it afterwards.
In terms of, if we go back to cryptocurrency, do you think you'll see more companies convert their cash balance into crypto like Tesla did? And I think maybe Twitter did as well?
Yes. I really, right now what we're seeing is like, almost like, you ever see a popcorn, like the Jiffy Pop? You know what a Jiffy Pop is, right? Where you put
What is that?
And basically you put it on the stove, right? It's a little pan, and then you shake it. You hear like a few pops. Well, each pop right now is like a company adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Sometime around September, it's going to be like.
So you really hear the noise of
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Whilst we talked about Tesla, one man I want to talk about, Elon Musk. Yeah, is he crypto villain or crypto hero?
Or crypto clown.
You know what? I feel like he's Donald Trump on Twitter, right? Somebody should take it away from him.
He's taking that mantle, hasn't he?
It's a nice image. Immediately we can imagine the situation.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he doesn't realize that he has a big voice.
Power.
And so it's a real power, and so it can really impact people, because some people lose money. So
exactly.
And at that moment, you really realize that Bitcoin is now a real money. because you can win, but you can also really lose also. So suddenly it's tangible. So you realize that, it is part of our life, and many people are using it. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of people are starting to use it, but they're using it. I think they're using it if they feel that they're losing money in Bitcoin, they're using it the wrong way. That's the problem.
Agree, huh? And sometimes, I have the sensation it's like a game.
Yeah.
And it's not,
Yeah,
because
if you
it's
do it
real
that way.
life.
Yeah, exactly. If you do it that way, you're going to lose most of the time, because most people thinking about, okay, well, if I buy this and I'm going to be rich tomorrow. No. Just save it for your retirement or something like that, and you'll be very, very happy, right? And look at it that way, and then you'll be beyond happy.
Yeah.
It's the store of value for Bitcoin's its strongest characteristic at the moment, because like transaction-wise or using it to pay something, if you want to buy a bar of chocolate or a car, it's not quite there yet, is it? So it's the store of value.
Yeah, you're right. It's not there yet, but you're not just betting on it being there, right? Because I really think it's going to be there, because it's so much better. If you look at it, right? Oh my God, I can send money anywhere instantly. I can cross any border with the money all in my brains, and nobody has to say, okay, well, you can't pass this border if you have over $10,000.
$10,000.
That's going to be gone.
Yeah.
You've got so much more advantages to hold this asset than anything else, that it just seems ridiculous to do something else, right? And now, of course, there's always the issues. Well, what if it fails, right? It is possible, and it is possible that an asteroid hits the planet and we all die.
Everything is possible.
So, right? So you have to, do you plan for an asteroid hitting the planet and we all die?
No.
It is possible, but you just don't plan for it.
Yeah, we don't plan for it. No.
One question that we've been thinking about is central bank digital currencies and the rapid move that the Chinese government are moving into that space with. Do you think a digital yen could really change everything? Could it take away the US place at the top of the financial pyramid?
Because it will change, huh? If they take the lead on that, it will really change the place of the game,
Yes and no, because the thing is, they're too late, right?
The Chinese?
Yes, they are.
Okay, I thought they were in advance on that.
Because they're too late in the sense of who's going to win, and whether their currency against Bitcoin. There's no.
Bitcoin's too far ahead now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no way that they can beat them and beat Bitcoin. And at the same time, if they make it compatible enough so that people can actually trade out of it fast, right, into Bitcoins, they're so SOL, right? And I'm sure they're going to have features that allow that. Now, of course, they're going to also have features to allow you to prevent you from buying certain things, but that would actually make the transfer of people out of that currency into Bitcoin that much faster. Because now, which would you rather have? A currency that you can spend anywhere, or a currency that you're told where to spend and when to spend? That's right. So
thank you very much, Davinci. It was a pleasure to welcome you here, and talk to you soon. Bye.
Hi everyone, it's Jarko from Tech Waves. I'm at Souk Madinat Jumeirah, one of my favorite places in Dubai. Today, I'm going to see some art and meet Amrita. Who is Amrita? Let's find out. So I'm here at the Theater of Digital Arts, okay, the first digital art gallery in the UAE, and I'm honored to be sitting with Amrita Sethi, the first NFT artist in the UAE. Hi Amrita, how are you?
Hi
How's
Zarko,
today?
thank you so much.
Super cool to meet you, I swear to God. We've been waiting for this day, okay?
Yes,
Not only it's
absolutely.
a day out of the office, you know what I mean, but it's fantastic to see you
Exactly.
here as well. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your journey?
Yeah.
Who is Amrita? How did you get to this, where we are right now, and
Yeah.
talk about your journey and who inspired you, what motivated you to become what you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me, and thank you to the Theatre of Digital Art for putting this on. And I'm super excited to see what GITEX is going to be offering us in October. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Amrita Sethi. As you rightly said, I'm the first NFT artist in the UAE. But I wasn't always forget an NFT artist, I wasn't always an artist. Actually, I started my journey as a banker, so in traditional finance. And so I've gone from a centralized financial system to a decentralized system when it comes to sort of blockchain and crypto. So it's also been a very interesting journey to go from, I would say the physical world to the more virtual world, right? And so I first started off as a banker working in the corporate world. And then a couple of years ago, I decided to leave banking, or more the corporate world, for more entrepreneurial calling originally. Okay. And then at that time, I had no intention of actually getting into art. I had a bit of time off, when you move companies and you start to set up your own business. And at that time, I thought, I've got a bit of time. And so let me connect to my creative self. It's never too late, right? And that's the story that I want to tell. So I was always very much into my art. I was always very passionate with my art, but I'd never really connected to it.
Right.
So when I had that time off, I thought to myself, let me connect to it. And that's when I created my unique concept, my new art form called voice note art.
Pretty amazing, yeah. So how does it work? Like you just say something and then it turns into art, is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I like it, yes, it's as magical as that, right?
It's as magical as that.
So I think effectively what I do is I capture, a word. So you've heard of, the phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words,
yes,
right?
Yes, of course.
So what I do is I flip it on its head and I say a word is worth 1,000 pictures. So even let's take your name, Zarko, right?
Yeah.
Imagine we say the name and already we can see the sound wave coming here.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's like this nice Zarko.
It's actually Jarko.
Jarko. Jarko, sorry.
That's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay, Jarko. It's good, I learned. This is it.
There we go.
And then I capture the shape and structure. And then in a way, just like you're interviewing me, I turn it on to you and I ask you about your life.
Right.
I ask you about, where have you come from? Where have you lived? What do you do?
Cool, okay.
And so I kind of get your story. I paint your story. I capture the essence of you. And then each of the lines of that sound wave, I then draw to match the meaning of who you are.
Oh, wow. That's
so what
amazing.
I've kind of done, thank you so much. So what I've kind of done is I've taken, the concept of a traditional portrait. When you paint somebody, you just kind of paint them and, like the Mona Lisa, you're trying to capture the essence, right? So what I do is I capture you, but in a dynamic story. So I think what I do with voice note art, it's about, yes, capturing words, but it's also about telling stories.
Right.
And that's what I love to do, because when you tell a story, it becomes dynamic and it brings everything more to life.
Right. Okay, I get it. So can you tell me something about, because I'm not that knowledgeable into this whole thing, NFTs, right? It's a fairly new thing.
Yeah.
It's now the thing, everybody talks about it. So can you explain us a bit more on how, what is the NFT and how this, like what is it so much about it and what is this noise about it, because I want to understand, and I'm sure a lot of people out there don't know what NFT means. So can you explain us a little bit more about that concept and how do you actually work with your art on NFT and how does it work for you too? You're selling your art, I believe, on NFTs or?
Yes, absolutely. So I actually discovered NFTs. So when I moved from being a banker to an artist, I first started off as a traditional artist. And when I mean traditional artists is I actually was creating my voice note art in a digital way. But before I found out about NFTs, I would need to find, I would say, physical ways to bring my art to life. And in fact, it's very interesting that we're at Toda today, because Toda is actually based in the Souk Medinat. And in the Souk Medinat is where I actually painted some of my first murals of voice note art. And this was all pre-NFTs.
Right.
So I had created something digitally, like I created my voice note art through using a lot of digital aspects. But then before I discovered NFTs, I would need to create physical manifestations of them.
Right.
So this is what's so amazing about the Souk, is that I actually have these murals here. Then what happened was COVID hit and we all then went literally online and we went digital. And it was through that experience that I discovered NFTs. And for the viewers at home, I can just give you a little bit of an understanding of what an NFT is, right? So an NFT is a non-fungible token. Now, it's a little bit of a scary word, and one word that I didn't think was actually going to fly, because I was just calling it digital art.
Yeah.
And effectively, it just means, to understand what non-fungible means, you need to understand what fungible is. So a fungible asset is like, if you have a dirham and I have a dirham, we can exchange those dirhams for each other.
Right.
Because they're fungible. A non-fungible aspect is if, say, I've got a piece of art that I value at, say, 100 dirhams, and you have a baseball card which you value at 100 dirhams. They're both valued at 100, but they're not interchangeable. They're not fungible.
Okay.
So what happens is, and that's the technical term, but if you take it away from that, and I like to just bring it down to how people can relate, we've gone digital in all aspects of our lives. You know, our money, we don't need to touch and feel our money anymore. We don't need to touch and feel the photographs that we have anymore.
Yeah.
And yet art is the one thing that hasn't gone digital. And so all of this is that it means that art is now digital. Now, what does that actually mean? So when you create a digital piece of content, the point is that it's totally, you can reproduce it like millions of times,
Yes,
right?
yes. But
you know, and that's exactly it. And so you have a soft copy, everybody can have that soft copy.
yeah.
But how do you capture the rarity and scarcity of a digital item? And the way you can do that is you mine it into the technology which is called blockchain.
Yeah, I get it. Now it makes sense, and it becomes unique piece.
Exactly.
And you cannot copy it or replicate it. I just wanted to ask you one more thing. We are at the Theatre of Digital Arts, and obviously you've got something in the background here showing you've got some exhibition going on. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah,
What's
absolutely.
happening today?
So I'm actually doing my first, it's a VIP premiere, it's a first exhibition, and it's a first physical exhibition of my NFT art. So currently, we talked about how you create NFTs. Instead of going, as a digital artist, instead of going to a gallery, I would say, showing your work and exhibiting your work and then selling your work, now galleries are online, so they're called marketplaces. So the marketplace that I'm currently on is one called Terra Virtua. And so a lot of the time, even doing exhibitions, we do them a lot of the time virtually, because that's the new world, right? So instead of just being able to focus on, you know, the people within your country, you can now reach out to lots and lots of people. So a lot of NFT art exhibitions have been happening online. But now that the world is opening up due to COVID,
Right.
is we can now have an NFT exhibition, but in a physical space.
Excellent.
And so today is that exhibition where it's my first physical exhibition of my digital art. And I couldn't have thought of a better place than Toda, right?
No, very good. So that's pretty much it. I think we're going to wrap it up here.
Thank you so much for having me on Tech Waves, and it's been
Anytime.
an absolute pleasure to be part of this. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Amrita, all the best.
Really
Good luck today with
appreciate
the
it.
exhibition. I'm going to be part of it too. I want to
Thank
see
you
it how
so
it looks
much.
like, and we'll see you soon.
Okay,
take care.
perfect.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
GITEX, AI Everything, GITEX Future Star, Future Blockchain Summit, FinTech Surge, and Marketing Mania, the biggest tech show of the year from the 17th to 21st of October at Dubai World Trade Center.
Year 2021 is a big celebration for UAE, celebrating 50 years of their existence, plus hosting two of the most powerful shows in the world, GITEX and Expo 2020 Dubai.